They walked the earth with the dinosaurs. They survived the asteroid that wiped out worlds. And they didn't change a single thing about themselves. For over 200 million years, turtles have been holding the ultimate blueprint for survival. Their slow movement isn't a weakness, it's a metabolic superpower. And that shell, it's a living, breathing sensory fortress. In a world completely obsessed with speed and dominance, these ancient creatures prove that consistency, patience, and fitting into the web of life are the real keys to eternity. Welcome to the mysterious biology and deep time of turtles. Let's look at existence on its own terms. Welcome to Dreamy Science Stories. Tonight, our awareness drifts into the serene, unhurried kingdom of the turtle. These are sentient beings that have trodden the soil of our planet for epochs longer than almost any other lineage. Carrying their sanctuaries natively upon their skeletal frames, they migrate through the currents of time with a deep, systemic patience that has unspooled across hundreds of millions of years. They claim residency within the abyssal oceans, rushing rivers, quiet woodland ponds, and arid desert landscapes. They deposit their legacies in the warm sands of coastal beaches and enter states of profound hibernation beneath the thick ice of frozen lakes. Certain species are scaled so delicately that they can rest easily within the palm of a human hand, while others expand to dimensions that eclipse a domestic dining table. Turtles stand as a living testament that existence requires no frantic acceleration. They remind us that absolute stillness harbors its own internal genius, and that the art of survival is frequently found in the simple, quiet act of enduring. If you find solace in these gentle, contemplative explorations, I invite you to leave a like, subscribe to our collective sanctuary, or share your own quiet reflections in the comment section below. Each mindful interaction helps other weary travelers navigate their way to this space, one sleepy soul at a time. But for now, no further exertion is required of you. Simply release your tension, sink deeply into your space, and allow the tranquil cadence of the turtle's universe to carry you away. Let us begin. Turtles have traversed the changing face of the earth for more than 200 million years. They are ancient beyond the reach of human measurement. Their initial lineages emerged during the Triassic period, sharing the terrain with the earliest dinosaurs when the planet's continents were still locked together in the singular, monumental supercontinent of Pangaea. While the cataclysmic rise and fall of dominant reptilian empires played out across the globe, while early mammals underwent complex evolutionary radiations, and while massive glacial ice sheets advanced and retreated across hemispheres, the turtle quietly persisted. They bore silent witness to the radical transformation of the global landscape, adapting with unhurried precision, surviving without a sound. Today, they function as literal living fossils, preserving the biological memory of prehistoric epochs that human intellect can scarcely comprehend. To look upon a turtle is to catch a fleeting glimpse of an evolutionary lineage that stretches backward into the deep abyss of geological time, an unbroken thread of living consciousness that has maintained its integrity across millions of generations. Approximately 66 million years ago, they successfully navigated the violent extinction event that completely erased the dinosaurs from the book of life. When a massive asteroid collided with the Earth, triggering planetary volcanic eruptions and instantaneous climate chaos, 3/4 of all existing species were completely obliterated. The skies were choked with ash, the oceans acidified into toxic environments, and global ecosystems collapsed under the weight of sudden darkness. Yet, the turtle endured. Their innate capacity to slow their cellular metabolism to a near halt, to survive for immense stretches of time without nutritional intake, and to seek refuge in deep water columns or subterranean burrows allowed them to outlast the planetary crucible. While the hyperspecialized tyrannosaurs and colossal sauropods vanished into fossilized history forever, the turtle quietly stepped forward into the aftermath. They emerged into a drastically altered world, a landscape that would eventually be claimed by mammals and birds. Yet they remained, carrying into the new dawn a structural body plan that had soundly proven its resilience through the most severe ecological catastrophe in recent geological history. A turtle's shell is not a temporary shelter it can willfully vacate. It is an anatomical extension of its very skeleton. The carapace is comprised of living bone fused directly to the creature's vertebral column and rib cage, shielded by specialized keratin plates known as scuts. As the animal matures, each individual scute expands outward in concentric rings, charting the passage of past years like the growth rings of an ancient tree. The dorsal dome is scientifically classified as the carapace, while the flat ventral foundation is called the plastron. Together, they integrate into a protective fortress, a living armor that has remained functionally unaltered across millions of fiscal cycles of evolution. To attempt to conceptualize a turtle divorced from its shell is to imagine a biological anomaly that has never existed. The shell is as fundamentally woven into the turtle's being as your own rib cage is an immutable part of your physical form. Consequently, certain turtles are biologically capable of living for more than a century and a half. They rank among the most long-lived organisms inhabiting the terrestrial world. The giant tortoises of isolated islands, in particular, routinely achieve lifespans that stretch far beyond the boundaries of human generations. The most famous living specimen, a giant tortoise named Jonathan residing on the remote island of St. Helena, was hatched around the year 1832. He has quietly existed through the birth of early photography, the maiden flight of human aircraft, 2 global world wars, and the dawn of the modern digital age. Other documented tortoises move well past the 100-year threshold, navigating the physical world with the exact same slow, deliberate patience that characterizes every single micro-movement of their limbs. The precise mechanism behind their extreme longevity remains a fascinating scientific mystery. Researchers hypothesize that their exceptionally low metabolic rate, highly efficient DNA replication and repair pathways, and an intrinsic cellular resistance to malignant diseases all contribute to their remarkable capacity for temporal endurance. Though they are fundamentally air-breathing reptiles equipped with lungs identical in function to our own, many turtle species spend the overwhelming majority of their lifespan submerged beneath the waves. Sea turtles, for example, ascend to the ocean's surface for mere fractions of a moment to fill their lungs before descending back into the crushing blue depths of the open sea. Certain freshwater species possess the profound capacity to remain submerged for hours, and even days, at a time by down-regulating their heart rates and absorbing dissolved oxygen directly from the water through specialized, highly vascularized tissues located within their throats or cloacae. During the harsh winter months, specific species enter a state of metabolic suspension beneath the frozen crust of northern lakes. They linger there for months on end in a condition of near animation suspendu, breathing so minimally that they appear completely devoid of life, waiting with infinite biological patience for the spring thaw to warm their aquatic world back into motion. Furthermore, sea turtles successfully navigate thousands of miles across open, featureless oceans. They are true nomads of the vast blue wilderness. Emerging from sandy coastal nests as tiny hatchlings, they execute a frantic scramble to the surf and vanish into the open ocean currents. For years, they drift along oceanic gyres, foraging and maturing within the pelagic zone. Many travel across entire ocean basins, covering immense distances. How they successfully plot their courses across these vast spaces remains one of the natural world's most magnificent enigmas. Empirical data indicates that they possess a keen sensitivity to the Earth's geomagnetic field, utilizing it as an internal global positioning system. They are also believed to decipher the subtle chemical signatures of distinct ocean currents and read the precise angle of incoming sunlight. Whatever the exact neurological method, its accuracy is absolute. Decades later, Mature adult females return with pinpoint precision to the exact coordinate of the beach where they originally hatched to deposit their own eggs, completing a grand biological circle that spans entire continents and lifetimes. Nature has quietly whispered magnificent survival secrets into the bodies of these unhurried creatures over millions of years. Each specific turtle species has transformed into a biological masterpiece tailored perfectly to the demands of its own unique geography. For instance, the ocean's most remarkable divers, the leatherback sea turtles, defy the crushing depths of the deep abyss without a rigid, hard shell. Instead, their carapace is composed of a tough, rubbery skin layered over thousands of tiny, interlocking bony plates. This specialized, flexible architecture allows the turtle's torso to safely compress under the immense hydrostatic weight as it plunges into the pitch-black midnight zone, hunting pelagic jellyfish before rising gracefully to breathe. Meanwhile, a completely different form of survival intelligence operates beneath the solid ice of frozen winter lakes. Certain freshwater turtles, unable to surface for atmospheric air during those long months, have developed a remarkable adaptation within their cloacal chamber. This multi-purpose opening is lined with an incredibly dense network of blood vessels designed to extract dissolved oxygen directly from the surrounding water column. In the deep, near-suspended state of winter hibernation, the creature draws its life force from the cold current, surviving for months on end in absolute stillness without ever filling its lungs. On land, the patient box turtles of forests and meadows elevate passive defense to absolute perfection. Their lower shell features a uniquely evolved hinge that functions like a seamless vault door. When a predator approaches, the box turtle pulls its head and limbs entirely inward, tightly sealing the openings shut. With zero vulnerable tissue exposed, the attacker faces nothing but an impenetrable dome of solid bone and dense keratin, an evolutionary design that has secured their lineage through shifting epochs. Turtles possess absolutely no teeth, yet their jaws are armed with immensely powerful, specialized beaks. A turtle's mouth is framed not by individual teeth, but by a sharp, keratinous tomia. This rigid beak is composed of compressed keratin, the exact same structural material that constitutes your own fingernails, and it grows continuously throughout the animal's life cycle. Different species possess uniquely sculpted beak profiles tailored specifically to their ecological diets. Marine jellyfish feeders, equipped with sharp, scissor-like, opposing beaks designed to cleanly slice through soft pelagic tissues. Snapping turtles, armed with heavily hooked, predatory beaks engineered to grip and secure struggling prey. Herbivorous tortoises, outfitted with broad, flat, serrated grinding surfaces optimized for crushing fibrous plant matter and tough vegetation. Despite the complete absence of a traditional dental structure, turtles are highly capable of tearing, crushing, and processing their food sources with absolute efficiency. Their beaks are highly refined instruments sculpted by millions of years of selective adaptation. Many turtle lineages are entirely vegetarian. Not all turtles operate as hunters within their ecosystems. Many species exist as gentle herbivores, grazing upon terrestrial flora, wild fruits, and nutrient-dense blossoms. The ancient giant tortoises of the Galapagos archipelago drift across volcanic landscapes, feeding slowly upon native grasses, prickly pear cacti, and fallen fruits, their sluggish external movements belying the massive, continuous, internal energetic work of digestion. Green sea turtles, despite starting their early lives as carnivorous hatchlings in the open ocean, undergo a complete dietary transition as they mature, transforming into dedicated herbivores that spend their adult years grazing upon vast underwater meadows of seagrass and marine algae. They live entirely at peace with the rhythm of the planet, requiring nothing but the slow abundance of nature to sustain their ancient journeys. Their beaks are elegantly serrated for shearing through tough vegetation, and their digestive systems host specialized bacteria, that help break down complex cellulose. These unhurried reptiles play an important role in their respective ecosystems, carefully pruning vast seagrass beds and dispersing seeds across great distances. They function as the natural gardeners of both sea and land, shaping entire plant communities through the quiet, consistent rhythm of their grazing. In the murky depths of slow-moving rivers and hidden ponds, the snapping turtle exists as an ambushed predator from another age. With its prehistoric appearance, muscular build, and a powerful bite, it remains one of the most formidable freshwater hunters on the planet. Snapping turtles lie perfectly motionless on the muddy bottom, their rough, ridged shells camouflaged among river rocks and decaying debris. They wait with infinite patience for fish, frogs, or ducklings to venture within reach. When prey finally arrives, they strike with startling speed, their hooked beak clamping down with tremendous force. Despite their fearsome reputation, snapping turtles are generally shy, preferring to avoid human contact entirely. They are ancient survivors, living relics of a time when the world was much wilder, continuing to thrive in the quiet, forgotten corners of wetlands. The alligator snapping turtle, the largest freshwater turtle in North America, hunts with an extraordinary level of cunning. It lies completely motionless on the riverbed, its massive mouth opened wide to the current. Inside its mouth sits a small, pink, fleshy appendage that looks remarkably like a wriggling worm. The turtle moves this specialized lure to attract curious fish. When a target swims close to investigate, the turtle's heavy jaws snap shut in a fraction of a second. This method of hunting requires an absolute mastery of patience and stillness, qualities this creature possesses in abundance. It can wait for hours or even days, its body perfectly disguised, its tiny lure the only movement in the water. It is a masterclass in biological deception, a predatory strategy refined over millions of years of evolution. In the northern reaches of their geographic range, painted turtles face brutal winters where ponds freeze solid and temperatures plummet. Some painted turtles hibernate deep underwater, but hatchlings that emerge late in the season sometimes choose to remain in their shallow nests throughout the winter. Incredibly, these tiny individuals can survive being partially frozen solid. While ice crystals form within their bodies, special proteins in their blood prevent destructive cellular damage. Their hearts stop beating, their breathing ceases entirely, and they enter a state of suspended animation. When spring arrives and warmth returns to the land, they thaw out, emerging alive, healthy, and completely unharmed. It is a survival strategy that defies conventional logic, a testament to the profound resilience built into these ancient creatures. Not all turtles wear heavy, rigid armor. Softshell turtles have evolved an entirely different approach to survival. Their shells are flat and covered with a flexible, leathery skin rather than hard, individual scuts. This streamlined design makes them exceptionally agile, allowing them to move through the water with surprising speed as they dart after fish and invertebrates. Their long, flexible necks and snorkel-like noses allow them to breathe while remaining completely buried in the sand or mud, safely hidden from predators. Found in rivers and lakes across Asia, Africa, and North America, these soft-shelled varieties prove that evolution finds many distinct paths to success, showing that a lack of traditional armor can be bypassed through speed and stealth. The Mata Mata turtle of South America is one of the strangest looking and most beautifully camouflaged creatures in the world. Its head is broad, flat, and covered with elaborate flaps of skin and small tubercles that look exactly like dead, decaying leaves and bark. Its rough, jagged shell blends seamlessly with the murky river bottoms where it resides. The Mata Mata is a dedicated sit-and-wait predator, lying completely motionless with its mouth closed. When a fish approaches, the turtle suddenly opens its enormous mouth, creating a powerful internal vacuum that instantly sucks the prey inside. The entire sequence happens in the blink of an eye. The mata never needs to chase its food. It simply waits, perfectly disguised, and lets the river bring its meals directly to it. Contrary to the belief that they live in a dim reality, turtles possess keen eyesight and excellent color vision. They can see a wide spectrum of colors, including some ultraviolet wavelengths that are completely invisible to the human eye. This advanced color perception is vital for identifying ripe fruits, locating colorful prey, or recognizing potential mates. Sea turtles rely heavily on their vision to navigate complex coral reefs and identify the specific coastal beaches where they will nest, while land-dwelling tortoises use color cues to select the most nutritious plants. Some studies even suggest that turtles can recognize individual human faces, associating specific people with food or safety. Their eyes are windows into a vibrant world, a reality they perceive with clarity and detail. Turtles are often thought of as completely silent, solitary creatures. While they do not vocalize frequently, they maintain a complex world of communication through body language and low-frequency vibrations. Head bobbing, neck extensions, and subtle limb movements all convey deep meaning within a herd or nesting ground. Male tortoises, for instance, bob their heads rhythmically to assert dominance or attract mates. Certain species produce low-frequency sounds that travel efficiently through the water or the ground. Even before entering the world, sea turtle hatchlings use subtle acoustic signals to coordinate their emergence from the nest. Embryos communicate from within the egg, ensuring they hatch simultaneously for safety in numbers, participating in a quiet conversation that unfolds entirely beneath our notice. In many turtle species, the delicate balance of life is governed by a fascinating biological phenomenon. The temperature of the nest determines whether the eggs develop into males or females. Warmer incubation temperatures generally produce females, while cooler conditions produce males. Known as temperature-dependent sex determination, this process shapes hormones during the crucial middle third of incubation, guiding the physical development of the embryos. A variance of just a few degrees can shift an entire clutch from one sex to the other. While this adaptation historically helped turtles balance their populations in response to seasonal shifts, in a rapidly warming world, it poses a significant ecological risk, as rising global temperatures could lead to highly skewed sex ratios. When baby sea turtles emerge from their sandy nests, they are only a few inches long and incredibly vulnerable to the world around them. To reach the safety of the ocean, they must scramble across an open beach, a journey fraught with immediate danger. Birds circle overhead, watching for the slightest movement, while crabs wait in the sand with ready claws. Raccoons, foxes, and other mammals patrol the shoreline under the cover of night. Once they reach the water, the danger continues as fish, sharks, and even larger sea turtles prey upon the hatchlings. It is estimated that only 1 in 1,000 hatchlings survives to adulthood, making the survival of a mature sea turtle a monumental combination of luck, instinct, and sheer determination. Sea turtle hatchlings are born with a powerful, ancient instinct written into their genetic code. After breaking free from their shells, they remain quiet beneath the sand, waiting until nightfall when the temperatures cool and predators are less active. Digging their way to the surface as a collective unit, they pause briefly to orient themselves and instinctively crawl toward the brightest horizon. In a natural world, this brightest point is the ocean, reflecting the light of the moon and the stars. Increasingly, however, artificial lights from coastal buildings and street lamps confuse the young turtles, causing them to crawl toward false horizons, away from the sea and toward roads and terrestrial predators, disrupting a journey millions of years in the making. One of the most remarkable migratory behaviors in the animal kingdom is the sea turtle's absolute fidelity to its birthplace. After spending decades traversing thousands of miles of open ocean, a mature female turtle will return with pinpoint accuracy to the exact beach where she originally hatched to lay her own eggs. How she accomplishes this monumental feat remains an enduring mystery, though scientists believe a combination of magnetic field detection, ocean current memory, and distinct olfactory cues guide her back home. This sight fidelity has persisted across countless generations, binding entire lineages to specific stretches of sand that have hosted their ancestors for thousands of years. When a sea turtle comes ashore to nest, she does so with a profound level of dedication. Over the course of a single breeding season, a female may return to the beach multiple times, meticulously digging a deep chamber in the sand with her hind flippers to deposit around 100 eggs per clutch. In total, she may lay several hundred eggs in a single season, each one about the size of a ping-pong ball and leathery to the touch. Once her work is complete, she carefully covers the nest, disguising its location from predators, and returns to the sea. She will never see her offspring, ending her maternal role with the quiet burial of her eggs, a silent act of faith that life will endure. Land-dwelling tortoises approach their nesting rituals with the same deliberate, unhurried care they bring to every aspect of existence. A female tortoise will spend hours searching for the perfect location, testing the moisture and texture of the soil with her back legs. Once satisfied, she digs a flask-shaped chamber, her hind legs working like precise mechanical scoops. She deposits her eggs one at a time, carefully positioning each one within the dark nest. Afterward, she fills the hole, smoothing the surface and sometimes even urinating on the soil to soften the earth and disguise her tracks before walking away, leaving the eggs to incubate hidden deep within the warm earth. The incubation period for turtle eggs varies widely depending on the species and the ambient temperature of the environment. Sea turtle eggs typically hatch in about 60 days, while tortoise eggs can take 90 days or even longer to mature. During this quiet time, the embryos develop slowly within their protective shells, drawing vital nutrients from the yolk while the surrounding soil acts as a natural incubator. As the moment of hatching approaches, the tiny turtles utilize a small, temporary egg tooth called a caruncle to break through their shells. This specialized tool falls off shortly after birth, allowing the siblings to begin working as a team, digging upward through the dark earth toward the surface. When turtle eggs are ready, the siblings coordinate their emergence to increase their collective chances of survival. If a single hatchling attempted to reach the ocean alone, predators would easily overwhelm it. However, when dozens or hundreds emerge simultaneously, predators cannot catch them all, a biological strategy known as predator satiation. Timing their movement for nightfall, when temperatures are cool and many threats are diminished, they dig upward through the sand together, each one contributing to the shared effort. When they finally break through to the surface, they pause briefly to orient themselves before scattering toward the safety of the water, finding strength in unity. On remote islands like the Galapagos and the Aldabra Atoll, giant tortoises function as vital ecosystem engineers. By grazing extensively on native vegetation, they keep plant communities in balance, while their wanderings allow them to disperse seeds across vast distances through their droppings, effectively planting future forests. Their heavy trails create pathways used by smaller animals, and when they dig for water or wallow in the mud, they create microhabitats for insects and amphibians. In their absence, these delicate island ecosystems change dramatically, proving that these gentle giants shape the very structure of the land they inhabit. The Galapagos Islands are home to multiple distinct species of giant tortoises, each one uniquely adapted to the specific conditions of its home island. On islands characterized by dry, sparse vegetation, tortoises evolved long necks and elevated, saddle-backed shells that allow them to stretch upward to reach high-growing cacti. On wetter islands with an abundance of low-growing ground cover, the tortoises possess dome-shaped shells and shorter necks. These physical differences arose because the islands are isolated from one another, allowing each population to evolve independently. Charles Darwin famously observed these variations during his historic visit in 1835, finding inspiration for his theory of evolution by natural selection within the quiet design of their shells. Aldabra tortoises exist as the ultimate relics of the Indian Ocean, safeguarding a legacy that once stretched across countless tropical islands. Before the onset of human expansion, which introduced aggressive hunting, systemic habitat destruction, and predatory invasive species, these prehistoric giants populated numerous archipelagos. Today, the isolated geographic sanctuary of the Aldabra Atoll serves as their absolute final stronghold. These massive herbivores can easily surpass 500 pounds, moving through the rugged scrublands with a heavy, deliberate stride. This remote atoll remains one of the last primitive biomes where tortoises outnumber human observers, actively modifying the terrain, just as their ancestors did over vast geological epochs. They are the final living echoes of an ancient era, standing as a profound testament to both the fragility of life and the power of dedicated conservation. Far from being mere drifters in the pelagic wilderness, marine turtles operate as fundamental architects of the underwater world. Green sea turtles function as natural lawnmowers for expansive seagrass meadows, keeping the blades short and healthy to prevent the collapse of the aquatic canopy. Meanwhile, hawksbill turtles carefully manage reef biodiversity by foraging on aggressive marine sponges, which would otherwise suffocate fragile coral colonies in the battle for sunlight and space. In the open ocean, the immense leatherbacks act as a natural check against exploding jellyfish populations. Even in death, the journey of a turtle serves a grand ecological purpose. Their sinking bodies deposit vital energy into the barren abyssal plains, while their global migrations continuously redistribute essential nutrients between coastal shelves and deep blue waters, binding disparate ecosystems together. The shimmering carapace of the hawksbill sea turtle stands as one of the most visually mesmerizing designs in nature, yet this exquisite beauty nearly guaranteed the species' total annihilation. Patterned with overlapping, translucent plates of deep amber, radiating gold and dark brown, their armor was fiercely coveted by human societies for generations. To manufacture luxury ornaments, intricate jewelry, and delicate hair combs, millions of these gentle reptiles were systematically harvested for the commercial market, driving their numbers down to a devastating baseline. Though international treaties have completely outlawed the raw tortoiseshell trade, clandestine black markets still pose a modern threat. Today, passionate wildlife defenders guard the remaining coastal nurseries, transforming a legacy of human exploitation into a global movement centered on preservation rather than possession. The physical build of the loggerhead sea turtle is defined by sheer mechanical power, specifically adapted for an armored diet. Their disproportionately large heads accommodate massive jaw muscles engineered to exert incredible crushing forces, allowing them to effortlessly splinter the calcified defenses of heavy conchs, thick-shelled clams, and horseshoe crabs. This specialized anatomy grants the loggerhead exclusive access to deep-water prey that remains entirely invulnerable to other marine reptiles. As they cruise along the ocean floor, their relentless jaws make short work of the most formidable natural armor. Yet, despite possessing a bite force capable of crushing bone, these ocean wanderers display a remarkably passive and gentle demeanor toward humans, reserving their immense structural strength entirely for the daily rituals of pelagic survival. While many marine turtles choose a solitary path to their nesting grounds, arriving under the complete cover of darkness one by one, olive ridley turtles exhibit a breathtaking, synchronized phenomenon known as the arrabata. Annually, the coastlines of Costa Rica, Mexico, and India witness the sudden, symphonic convergence of thousands of nesting females breaking through the surf simultaneously, completely blanketing the sand. Biologists view this synchronized behavior as an evolutionary masterstroke against predation. By saturating the shoreline with an overwhelming abundance of life, local predators are simply incapable of consuming the entire generation, ensuring a much higher survival rate for the impending hatchlings. To witness an arabata is to feel the pulse of a massive, ancient instinct coordinating thousands of separate bodies toward one singular, timeless purpose. The Kemp's Ridley sea turtle holds the fragile title of being both the smallest and the most critically endangered marine turtle alive today. Because their nesting habits are almost entirely restricted to a solitary beach in Rancho Nuevo, Mexico, their entire lineage remains acutely vulnerable to environmental catastrophes. Historically, their arabatas were legendary, with archival footage from 1947 capturing an estimated 40,000 females nesting in a single daylight event. Tragically, decades of unchecked egg poaching and commercial fishing accidents decimated the species, reducing their numbers to fewer than 300 documented nests per season by the mid-1980s. Through the mandatory introduction of turtle-safe commercial nets and militarized beach protection, their numbers are finally experiencing a slow, hard-won resurgence. In stark contrast to their globally distributed relatives, flatback sea turtles are fiercely loyal to one specific geographic sector, living exclusively within the shallow waters of the Australian continental shelf. They nest only on the remote northern beaches of Australia and restrict their foraging journeys to the coastal zones stretching toward Papua New Guinea and Indonesia. True to their name, they possess a distinctly low-profile, smooth carapace that maximizes hydrodynamic efficiency in shallow, turbid, and sandy coastal biomes. Sublimely adapted for a diet of soft-bodied marine prey like sea cucumbers, jellyfish, and soft corals, their localized existence leaves them uniquely exposed to regional industrial developments, serving as a reminder that some of the planet's most irreplaceable treasures are confined to very specific corners of the map. A turtle's reality is heavily guided by a profoundly sophisticated sense of smell that operates with equal precision both above and below the surface. Through advanced chemoreception, they decipher the invisible chemical currents of their environments, utilizing olfaction to track down distant feeding grounds, identify mates, and chart their migratory pathways. Sea turtles read the complex chemical signatures of the ocean, following subtle scent corridors across thousands of miles to locate their ancestral birthplaces. On land, the sensitive nasal cavities of tortoises can detect the distinct aroma of ripening flora from deep within grasslands and forests. Even during severe environmental droughts, certain species can smell shifting moisture levels in the atmosphere, allowing them to read the air for hidden water sources long before their eyes can see them. Capable of surviving across immense periods of natural scarcity, turtles are unparalleled models of metabolic optimization. By downregulating their cellular activity and relying on dense fat deposits, many species can comfortably endure months without a single morsel of food. During the depths of winter dormancy, their internal organs transition into a state of extreme conservation, allowing them to remain completely motionless for up to half a year. Even during transoceanic migrations, sea turtles can suppress their appetite for consecutive weeks, prioritizing forward momentum over caloric intake. Unlike mammals and birds, which are bound to a frantic cycle of constant foraging, the turtle possesses the quiet biological superpower of infinite patience, simply choosing to outweigh adversity until the surrounding environment turns favorable once more. To survive the punishing winters of temperate climates, turtles utilize a profound state of seasonal dormancy known as brumation. As the temperature drops and food resources vanish, they retreat into subterranean burrows, deep rock fissures, or bury themselves completely within the soft, insulating mud at the floor of frozen ponds. Within these hidden sanctuaries, their heart rates plummet to a mere fraction of their active pace, and their oxygen consumption slows to an absolute minimum. Painted, snapping, and box turtles all rely on this deep physiological pause to shield themselves from lethal sub-zero conditions, sleeping through the seasonal freeze and emerging completely revitalized with the arrival of spring thaw, effectively turning hibernation into a biological bridge across hostile time. Amid the oppressive heat of the southwestern deserts, the desert tortoise encounters a brutal landscape of scorching sun and rare rainfall. They conquer this unforgiving terrain by excavating complex underground labyrinths that can descend over 10 feet into the cool earth, creating a vital thermal buffer against the blistering daytime radiation and the freezing desert nights. During the summer peaks, these reptiles remain strictly subterranean, venturing out to forage only during the brief twilight windows of dawn and dusk. They extract nearly all of their necessary hydration from the succulent desert flora they consume, possessing a highly specialized bladder that stores moisture for months on end, allowing them to wait patiently beneath the surface until the rare desert monsoons replenish the earth. The wood turtles of North America shatter the misconception that reptiles are governed solely by rigid, unthinking instincts, displaying an impressive capacity for creative problem-solving. In laboratory mazes, these woodland creatures demonstrate a sharp spatial memory, learning to navigate complex pathways and operate mechanisms for food rewards with a retention span that rivals many mammals. In the wild, they apply this cognitive flexibility to master varied terrains and outsmart predators. Most brilliantly, wood turtles have been documented intentionally pounding their plastrons against the damp earth. This rhythmic thumping mimics the vibrations of falling rainwater, tricking earthworms into crawling directly to the surface where they are promptly captured, a stunning demonstration of tactical deception. The boundaries of cognitive tool use, once thought to separate primates from the rest of the animal kingdom, have been quietly expanded by the behavioral adaptations of turtles. In sanctuary settings, these reptiles have been observed intentionally manipulating foreign objects, utilizing loose sticks to pull distant food closer or rearranging rocks to scale difficult structural barriers. In their natural habitats, wild individuals have been recorded utilizing flat stones as rudimentary anvils to break open tough mollusks, or pressing their carapaces against hard surfaces to fracture scavenged eggs. While these actions lack the intricate dexterity of mammalian tool design, they provide undeniable evidence of a calculating, adaptive mind capable of assessing and altering its immediate environment. Turtles frequently form distinct, recognizable attachments to their human caretakers, demonstrating a clear awareness of individual faces and daily routines. In domestic or rescue environments, they readily differentiate between the people who offer them safety and complete strangers, often swimming enthusiastically to the glass or marching across an enclosure only when their specific owner approaches. They will attentively track their caretaker's movements or tilt their heads in response to the specific frequency of a familiar human voice. While their recognition lacks the expressive enthusiasm of a domestic mammal, their deliberate preferences and sustained focus reveal a quiet, observant consciousness that effortlessly bridges the evolutionary gulf between species. Scientific studies into tortoise cognition reveal that these reptiles possess an advanced visual processing system capable of identifying and categorizing varied geometric shapes and vivid colors. Through associative learning, they can be trained to select specific visual patterns to unlock nutritional rewards, proving that their interaction with the world is highly analytical. In the wild, this color acuity allows them to visually scan dense brush to pinpoint highly nutritious plants, ripe fruits, and compatible mates while avoiding toxic foliage. Their mind does not merely register light and shadow. Instead, they construct a vivid mental catalog of their surroundings, translating a red berry into an immediate source of vitality and a specific visual texture into an alert for potential danger. Diverging from the classic archetype of the completely isolated reptile, several turtle species exhibit rich and cooperative social structures. Along the sweeping rivers of South America, hundreds of water turtles gather in organized assemblies on mudbanks to collectively absorb the afternoon sun, while painted turtles in northern lakes pile systematically on top of one another on floating logs, maximizing limited basking space and communal warmth. Even pelagic sea turtles break their oceanic solitude to congregate in massive numbers during nesting cycles and peacefully share localized feeding grounds. These communal gatherings dramatically decrease individual vulnerability by creating a shared network of vigilance against predators, demonstrating that companionship and social synergy are woven deep within their ancient lineage. As ectothermic beings, turtles are entirely dependent on the external environment to regulate their metabolic processes, rendering the daily ritual of basking a fundamental pillar of their survival. Resting under the direct rays of the sun elevates their core body temperature, an energetic boost that immediately catalyzes their digestion, accelerates cellular repair, and fortifies their immune defenses. Solar radiation is equally critical for the internal synthesis of vitamin D, the essential catalyst required to maintain the structural integrity of their skeletal frame and heavy shell. Because of this, aquatic turtles are incredibly selective about their basking platforms, carefully positioning themselves on partially submerged logs or river rocks, adjusting their limbs to capture every single photon of life-giving warmth. To watch a turtle absorb the warmth of the sun is to observe a primal ritual of self-preservation, a timeless habit honed over eons. As these reptiles expand in size, the outer shields covering their carapaces do not stretch. Instead, fresh tissue develops beneath the surface while the weathered exterior peels away in a cyclic shedding phase. In water-dwelling varieties, this molt occurs regularly and is highly apparent, manifesting as clear, papery fragments of keratin separating from the shell. For land tortoises, the process is far more discreet, but remains structurally continuous. The distinct growth rings etching the surface of many shells are a direct consequence of this cycle, with each line chronicling a specific burst of development. Though human observers sometimes count these rings to calculate an animal's age, environmental fluctuations render them unreliable chronometers. Ultimately, this shedding serves as an absolute indicator of vitality, a tangible sign that the creature is actively growing, adjusting, and progressing along its lifelong path. When forced to live in compromised or unsanitary conditions, a turtle's shell can succumb to a destructive condition known as shell rot. Because the carapace is comprised of living, vascularized tissue rather than inert armor, it remains highly susceptible to disease. This specific affliction stems from aggressive bacterial or fungal pathogens that take hold when an animal is exposed to stagnant, polluted water or suffers localized physical trauma. What begins as faint discoloration or soft, spongy patches can rapidly deteriorate into deep, systemic ulcerations if left unchecked. In natural wilderness settings, wild turtles intuitively combat these infections through regular sun basking, a practice that thoroughly dries and disinfects their armor while bolstering their immune responses. In artificial environments, maintaining immaculate water quality, providing high-output basking platforms, and offering balanced nutrition are essential preventative measures, showing that despite their fortressed appearance, these creatures remain fundamentally vulnerable. When young tortoises grow at an unnaturally accelerated rate, they can develop an irreversible structural distortion known as pyramiding. This condition causes the individual scuts of the carapace to expand vertically into sharp, peaked, pyramidal formations rather than maintaining a smooth, aerodynamic contour. The root cause typically lies in captive environments where juveniles are fed overly rich diets excessively high in protein, or when they experience critical calcium imbalances. In the wild, tortoises mature with extreme slowness, grazing on coarse, fibrous, low-nutrient vegetation. When well-meaning human caretakers inadvertently provide an overabundance of concentrated food, the resulting growth spurt deforms the shell structure. While mild cases may only alter aesthetics, severe pyramiding places immense mechanical strain on the skeleton and underlying internal organs, serving as a physical reminder that development in this ancient lineage must never be rushed. Beneath the dense, stony exterior of a turtle's shell lies a complex network of active nerve endings, rendering the entire structure highly sensitive to physical contact. When a human finger gently taps or strokes the surface of the carapace, the reptile perceives the sensation with absolute clarity. This structural sensitivity serves as an essential sensory tool, enabling the animal to calculate subtle shifts in its immediate surroundings, such as the distant ground vibrations of an advancing predator or the precise texture of a resting ledge. Certain individual turtles exhibit signs of profound relaxation when rubbed, elongating their necks and closing their eyes in an apparent state of comfort. Conversely, more anxious specimens will instantly retreat into their armor at the ghost of a touch, proving that the shell is far from a numb, disconnected barrier. It is an active organ of perception connecting the creature to its world. When a turtle suffers a severe fracture or puncture to its armor, its body initiates a slow but highly effective regenerative process. The living bone anchoring the carapace can gradually knit back together, and the overlying keratin layers will steadily reform over extended periods of time. In their natural habitats, individual turtles routinely survive traumatic boat propeller strikes, heavy predator attacks, and catastrophic falls from high cliffs, their bodies silently mending the fractures over months or consecutive years. Modern wildlife rehabilitators often apply specialized epoxy resins and fiberglass meshes to artificially stabilize major shell splits, creating a structural bridge that allows the animal's natural cellular defenses to repair the damage. This slow knitting together of broken bone serves as a profound testament to the innate, systemic resilience woven into the very fabric of their existence. The hidden underside of a turtle, specifically the flat plastron, frequently serves as an anatomical blueprint for identifying its sex. In numerous species, close inspection of this bottom plate reveals a distinct evolutionary design. Males often possess a noticeably concave plastron that curves inward, a structural indentation that allows them to securely mount the high dome of a female during the mating ritual. In stark contrast, females possess a completely flat or slightly convex plastron, an architecture that maximizes internal abdominal space for the safe development of eggs. Furthermore, males typically display significantly longer, thicker tails and elongated claws on their forelimbs. These subtle expressions of sexual dimorphism vary across different lineages. In certain species, the males are dwarfed by their female counterparts, while in others, they reign as the larger sex, with each variation tailored precisely to the demands of reproduction. The mechanics of turtle reproduction are dictated entirely by habitat, split evenly between aquatic choreography and terrestrial persistence. Water-dwelling species conduct their courtship and mating entirely beneath the surface, where males utilize their elongated front claws to secure a grip on the female's carapace as they swim in tandem, a process marked by heavy splashing and constant underwater movement. Land tortoises, conversely, execute their mating rituals on solid ground. A male tortoise will pursue a female with relentless focus, intentionally ramming her shell with his own or biting at her legs until she halts and permits him to mount. During these intense terrestrial encounters, certain male tortoises emit distinct, raspy vocalizations, low grunts and rhythmic groans that stand as some of the only audible sounds these otherwise silent reptiles ever produce. With the arrival of the breeding season, male tortoises completely shed their passive demeanor, transforming into highly territorial and aggressive competitors. They challenge rival males directly, engaging in slow-motion jousting matches where they violently slam their carapaces together, shove one another across the dirt, and actively attempt to flip their opponents onto their backs. These low-ground battles are remarkably intense, with the dominant victor earning exclusive reproductive access to nearby females. For the defeated tortoise, being overturned poses an immediate, life-threatening crisis. If the animal cannot successfully right itself, it risks fatal overheating under the sun, organ failure from compressed internal weight, or predation. While most possess the leverage to flip back overusing their powerful necks and limbs, the ordeal remains an exhausting, high-stakes struggle to pass on victorious genes. Prior to the act of mating, many turtle species engage in courtship displays of surprising complexity and grace. Male red-eared sliders, for example, perform an underwater dance where they swim backward directly in front of a female, vibrating their elongated foreclaws against her face in a rapid, fluttering motion. Other aquatic varieties practice synchronized head bobbing or swim in tight, hypnotic circles around their chosen mates, while male tortoises pursue females across land, bobbing their heads in rhythmic patterns while emitting low acoustic signals. These intricate behavioral displays allow the reptiles to confirm species identity, evaluate the physical fitness of a potential partner, and stimulate receptivity, translating ancient reproductive instincts into a silent, generational choreography refined over millions of eons. Among the most sophisticated reproductive strategies utilized by female turtles is their extraordinary capacity for long-term sperm storage. Following a single successful mating encounter, a female can harvest and maintain viable sperm within specialized oviductal glands inside her reproductive tract for months, or even consecutive years. This internal reservoir allows her to fertilize multiple separate clutches of eggs across several seasons without needing to encounter another male. If a female inhabits an isolated territory where potential mates are absent for a season, her reproductive cycle remains unhindered, allowing her to successfully produce fertile clutches using past reserves. This physiological independence maximizes her lifetime reproductive output and ensures that a single male's genetic lineage can influence multiple subsequent generations long after the initial encounter. Rather than depositing their entire seasonal reproductive allocation into a single nest, many female turtles choose to distribute their risk across multiple separate nesting events. A single female sea turtle, for example, will routinely construct between 3 and 5 distinct clutches over the course of a single summer, spacing her terrestrial excursions several weeks apart. This behavioral strategy functions as an evolutionary insurance policy. If an early nest is entirely obliterated by a severe coastal storm, a sudden tidal flood, or hungry beach predators, the subsequent hidden nests may still survive to hatch. Each individual journey up the beach demands an immense expenditure of physical energy from the female, yet she returns to the dunes again and again, driven by a primal biological imperative to secure the continuation of her bloodline. While temperature dictates the developmental path of embryos in many turtle lineages, local microclimates within a single nest often create natural variations. The sand or soil near the upper lip of a nesting chamber may absorb significantly more solar heat than the cool, damp earth at the very bottom, or ambient temperatures may shift dramatically as the weeks progress. This internal thermal gradient frequently results in a single nest producing a mixed-sex clutch, containing both male and female hatchlings. Because sex is determined entirely during the specific middle third of the incubation timeline, known as the thermosensitive period, the slight temperature differences between individual eggs create this natural equilibrium, an ancient balancing act that is increasingly threatened by rising global temperatures. The moment a sea turtle hatchling breaks through the surf and enters the ocean, it initiates an intense, continuous swimming display known as the swimming frenzy. Driven by pure survival instinct, the tiny reptile does not pause to rest or forage. Instead, it swims frantically offshore for several hours, sometimes for more than a day, to distance itself from dangerous coastal predators and reach the safety of deep ocean currents. Once swept into these pelagic gyres, they vanish into a mysterious wilderness phase traditionally referred to by marine biologists as the lost years, an elusive epoch of their lives where they drift silently among floating canopies of seaweed, growing invisible and unmonitored by human eyes until they are large enough to safely return to coastal ecosystems. The developmental interlude, known as the lost years, remains one of the most secretive chapters in marine biology. Once newborn hatchlings migrate away from their natal beaches and vanish into the open sea, they are rarely encountered by researchers until they return to shallow coastal feeding grounds years later as substantial juveniles. Their precise migratory routes, daily survival tactics, and dietary habits during this oceanic exile were historically cloaked in mystery. Current scientific consensus suggests that these tiny drifters seek out massive, floating mats of pelagic sargassum seaweed, utilizing the vegetation as both a physical shield against predators and a rich foraging ground filled with soft-bodied invertebrates. While modern satellite telemetry and genetic markers are slowly illuminating these dark ocean corridors, much of this juvenile journey unfolds entirely beyond human sight. Upon emerging from their long oceanic exile, juvenile sea turtles deliberately seek out protected coastal environments that offer an abundance of sustenance and physical shelter. Expansive seagrass meadows, tangled mangrove estuaries, and shallow coral reefs function as essential natural nurseries where these maturing reptiles can forage safely. These highly productive biomes afford them excellent camouflage from large open ocean predators, while granting them easy access to diverse food sources such as marine algae, sponges, and small crabs. A juvenile turtle may occupy these shallow coastal sanctuaries for consecutive years, steadily building mass and strength before eventually migrating to adult foraging territories or embarking on their own epic reproductive journeys, making the preservation of these coastal fringes vital to their survival. In stark contrast to the transoceanic wanderings of their marine cousins, North American box turtles are fierce homebodies that exhibit an intense attachment to their immediate surroundings. An individual box turtle will routinely spend its entire multi-decade lifespan within a highly restricted home range that spans only a few acres of woodland or meadow. Over time, they map this territory with absolute cognitive precision, memorizing the exact locations of seasonal food sources, reliable water holes, and safe winter burrows. If a box turtle is unthinkingly removed from its established territory by humans, it will reject its new surroundings, spending its remaining energy wandering aimlessly in a desperate, often fatal attempt to locate its original home, proving that true conservation means leaving these mindful residents exactly where they belong. From the humid depths of equatorial rainforests to the sun-baked soil of arid deserts, and from frigid northern river systems to vibrant tropical coral reefs, turtles have successfully colonized almost every major biome on Earth. Freshwater varieties dominate slow-moving rivers, marshes, and expansive wetlands, while marine turtles traverse entire ocean basins to navigate between continents. Simultaneously, land-dwelling tortoises have carved out successful niches within windswept grasslands, dense brushlands, and ancient forests. Some species exist as highly resilient generalists, maintaining stable populations even within human-altered landscapes, while others operate as highly delicate specialists requiring pristine conditions to endure. This vast geographical footprint mirrors the profound, unhurried adaptability that has allowed their shared lineage to persist across epochs of planetary upheaval. Freshwater turtles function as a vital, highly efficient natural cleanup crew within our planet's aquatic networks. Operating primarily as omnivorous scavengers, many species feed extensively on dead fish, decaying aquatic vegetation, and organic detritus that collects along the riverbed. By rapidly consuming this decomposing material, they actively prevent the accumulation of organic waste that would otherwise deplete dissolved oxygen levels, compromise water clarity, and trigger the dangerous overgrowth of harmful bacteria. Snapping turtles, in particular, excel at this ecological role, clearing away carrion that sinks into the deep mud. In this manner, these unhurried reptiles constantly recycle vital nutrients and maintain the biological balance of their waterways, making their presence an indicator of a thriving ecosystem. Despite their profound historical resilience, modern turtles are exceptionally vulnerable to the rapid onset of habitat destruction. The accelerating pace of coastal development directly obliterates the sandy dunes required for nesting, while chemical pollution routinely degrades the quality of pristine aquatic ecosystems. On land, expanding road networks fragment tortoise territories, causing a steep rise in vehicular mortality. Simultaneously, the systemic drainage of wetlands completely eliminates crucial freshwater breeding grounds. As human populations expand, turtles are squeezed into increasingly microscopic, isolated patches of wilderness. Many species simply lack the capacity to adapt quickly to these sudden shifts. Their slow reproductive rates mean that depleted populations require consecutive decades to recover from minimal losses. Protecting these habitats transcends the preservation of individual animals. It is about safeguarding the ancient corridors they rely on to feed, reproduce, and survive. The pervasive crisis of plastic pollution introduces a silent, deadly hazard to the world's oceans, posing a severe threat to pelagic sea turtles. These marine wanderers routinely mistake discarded plastic bags for jellyfish, one of their primary prey choices, and consume them. Once ingested, the synthetic material cannot be digested, creating fatal obstructions within their intestinal tracts that lead to slow starvation. Furthermore, turtles frequently become entangled in abandoned commercial fishing lines, synthetic ropes, and drifting nets, suffering catastrophic physical injuries or drowning outright. Microplastics, the microscopic fragments that now contaminate the global water column, are consumed unknowingly and accumulate within their living tissues. Medical examinations of deceased sea turtles frequently reveal stomachs tightly packed with plastic debris, bottle caps, straws, and synthetic wrappers, proving that every fragment of waste entering the ocean stands as a potential executioner. Industrial fishing gear functions as a lethal snare, drowning countless sea turtles across the globe annually. Because these marine reptiles must periodically ascend to the surface to breathe atmospheric air, becoming entangled in underwater trawling nets, long lines, or the thick tethers of crab traps prevents them from rising, leading directly to asphyxiation. Even when they manage to break free, deep punctures from commercial hooks and the constrictive friction of synthetic lines cause severe, systemic infections or permanent physical disabilities. The widespread introduction of turtle excluder devices, or TEDs, within commercial fishing nets has successfully mitigated this bycatch crisis in specific regulated regions. These specialized metal grid panels feature an escape hatch that allows trapped turtles to easily deflect out of the net while the targeted catch remains secured within. However, because these devices are not universally mandated and illegal fishing practices persist, thousands of turtles are lost each year to preventable encounters. Global climate change is actively rewriting the environmental parameters that turtles have relied upon for millions of eons, placing ancestral nesting beaches in immediate jeopardy. Rising sea levels and intensifying tropical storms rapidly erode coastal shorelines, washing away stable sand dunes and exposing buried nests before the eggs can mature. Sudden storm surges routinely flood incubation chambers, drowning the developing embryos within their porous shells. Concurrently, escalating global temperatures skew natural sex ratios by overheating the sand, producing an overwhelming majority of female hatchlings and threatening the reproductive viability of future generations. While rising waters submerge their historical breeding grounds, forcing them to seek alternative terrain, turtles remain fierce creatures of habit, driven by an unyielding instinct to return to their exact place of birth. Adapting to new geography may not happen fast enough to outpace the shifting climate. In response to these escalating pressures, dedicated international conservation programs are successfully assisting vulnerable turtle populations on their slow path toward recovery. Around the world, passion-driven organizations patrol nesting beaches through the night to shield vulnerable females and their eggs from illegal poaching, while protected hatcheries insulate nests from terrestrial predators. Specialized head-starting initiatives collect wild hatchlings, raising them within the safety of captivity until they achieve a size resilient enough to withstand the initial gauntlet of wild predators before releasing them into the surf. Concurrently, advanced wildlife rehabilitation centers serve as modern animal hospitals, treating severe injuries, healing complex illnesses, and nursing stranded individuals back to health. Backed by international laws prohibiting the trade of tortoiseshell products, these long-term efforts are gradually turning the tide, proving that conservation is a slow, patient process that mirrors the very creatures it seeks to protect. When sea turtles are discovered sick, injured, or stranded along changing shorelines, specialized turtle hospitals provide critical, state-of-the-art veterinary care. Dedicated medical teams routinely perform complex surgeries to remove deeply embedded fishing hooks, repair shattered carapaces with specialized binding materials, and treat severe internal systemic illnesses caused by chemical pollution. These facilities are also essential for combating the phenomenon known as cold stunning, which occurs when turtles inhabiting temperate waters are caught off guard by sudden, catastrophic drops in seasonal temperatures. The rapid chill leaves them profoundly lethargic, entirely paralyzed, and incapable of swimming. Without human intervention, they would float helplessly into predators or wash ashore to perish. Turtle hospitals harvest these comatose individuals, warming them with extreme slowness, treating underlying complications, and releasing them once the oceans warm. True ecological preservation thrives on a human element, and community-based conservation programs are successfully empowering local populations to become the primary guardians of their native species. By training and employing coastal residents as nest monitors, beach patrollers, and environmental educators, these initiatives align the economic survival of human families with the preservation of wildlife. This structural shift transforms former poachers into passionate protectors, encourages local fishermen to adopt turtle-safe gear, and teaches younger generations to value the ancient reptiles nesting on their shores. When communities are granted a tangible stake in the survival of their local ecosystems, they naturally transform into its most effective champions, demonstrating that protecting the natural world is not merely a lesson in biology, but an exercise in building harmonious relationships between humanity and the environment. When managed with absolute responsibility, ecotourism centers on turtle conservation generate essential revenue streams that fund localized protection efforts while fostering deep global awareness. Travelers from across the world pay for the privilege of witnessing nesting sea turtles under expert guidance, assisting in the monitored release of newborn hatchlings, or snorkeling alongside mature individuals in their natural marine habitats. This sustainable income directly funds nighttime beach patrols, scientific research equipment, and local educational outreach. It also transforms visitors into lifelong conservation advocates who return to their home nations with a profound appreciation for these ancient reptiles. By altering local economies, ecotourism transforms living turtles into valuable long-term assets, shifting human incentives away from immediate exploitation and toward permanent preservation. Throughout the tapestry of human history, ancient cultures worldwide have observed the turtle, weaving its unhurried strength into their fundamental mythologies. In numerous Native American traditions, the turtle serves as a profound symbol of cosmic creation, with ancient lore dictating that the dry earth itself was formed upon the back of a monumental carapace, a concept beautifully remembered as Turtle Island. Similarly, within Hindu mythology, the deity Vishnu assumes the physical form of a colossally powerful turtle named Kurm to support the weight of the cosmos during a monumental churning of the celestial ocean. In ancient Chinese culture, the turtle stands as an emblem of longevity, wisdom, and cosmic stability, its shell mirroring the vault of heaven. These enduring legends reflect humanity's timeless relationship with these creatures, recognizing the deep internal wisdom and unshakable patience they embody. Across disparate continents and shifting centuries, the turtle has remained a universal metaphor for patience, persistence, and enduring life. Their slow, deliberate movements and extraordinary life expectancies make them natural symbols for the power of steady dedication over frantic acceleration. The timeless fable of the tortoise and the hare continues to remind human societies that consistent, unyielding effort can triumph over erratic, flashier speed. In many Asian philosophies, turtles are intimately bound to the concept of deep wisdom, acquired through a life lived long and observed completely. This imagery flourishes across ancient art, classical literature, and spiritual practices, always carrying a comforting connotation of stability and timelessness. These symbolic meanings endure because they are rooted in authentic observation, resonating with the fundamental truths within the human experience. The physical architecture of the turtle stands as one of the oldest, most undeniable success stories in the history of evolutionary biology. Their core anatomical blueprint, a soft body entirely encased within a protective vault of living bone, limbs engineered to retract inward, and a sharp, toothless beak, has remained functionally unaltered for over 200 million years. This structural continuity does not imply that turtles failed to evolve. Rather, it proves that their initial design was so profoundly effective that evolution encountered absolutely no reason to abandon it. The shell provides an absolute defense, the exceptionally low metabolism conserves vital energy, and the ability to withdraw into armor neutralizes predatory threats. While they have refined this blueprint to conquer diverse environments, the core architecture remains a timeless monument to a perfect biological solution. The rich fossil record of these reptiles reveals an ancient history defined by incredible diversity, proving that turtles were once even more varied in form than the species alive today. Prehistoric landscapes were populated by ancient turtles possessing shapes, sizes, and structural adaptations that have long since vanished from the earth. The fossilized remains of these primitive lineages reveal turtles armed with functional teeth, unlike their modern descendants, as well as marine giants navigating prehistoric seaways, specialized tortoise-like herbivores browsing through vanished primeval forests, and unique freshwater varieties dominating ancient river systems. Each excavated fossil offers a fleeting glimpse into a long-lost chapter of planetary history, reminding us that the turtles moving quietly through our modern world are simply the latest guardians of a biological legacy millions of years in the making. During the late Cretaceous period, a colossal sea turtle named Archelon navigated the shallow inland seas that covered much of prehistoric North America, safely holding the title of the largest turtle ever known to science. Measuring over 13 feet in length and weighing in excess of 2 tons, this marine titan possessed immensely powerful, elongated flippers adapted for driving its massive bulk through the ancient currents. Unlike modern hard-shelled sea turtles, Archelon's carapace was characterized by a lighter, reduced skeletal framework covered by a thick, leathery, hide-like skin, an adaptation that maximized buoyancy. It successfully cruised the prehistoric oceans, hunting ancient jellyfish and cephalopods until the cataclysmic asteroid impact erased the prehistoric world, leaving behind modern sea turtles as distant relatives carrying forward its grand marine legacy. Not all ancient turtles were passive, unarmored herbivores. The fossil record reveals that certain prehistoric species evolved extraordinary, aggressive defensive adaptations to survive intense predation pressures. Among the most remarkable was Mylania, a massive, land-dwelling tortoise that once roamed the ancient landscapes of Australia. This creature possessed a heavy, club-like tail entirely covered in sharp, bony spikes, paired with a head that was far too wide to ever retract within its shell. Instead, its skull was heavily protected by a pair of prominent, sweeping horns resembling those of a bull. These elaborate, spiked defenses indicate an ancient world where predators were exceptionally formidable. Mylania successfully navigated these dangers for millions of years, leaving behind a bizarre morphology that reminds us of evolution's endless experimentation. While their unique appearance has long puzzled evolutionary biologists, modern genetic analysis has successfully clarified the turtle's true place within the reptile family tree. These ancient creatures belong to the specialized clade known as Testudines, and recent genomic studies indicate that they are most closely related to archosaurs, the elite evolutionary group that encompasses both modern crocodiles and birds. This reveals that despite their vastly different physical forms, a slow-moving sea turtle shares a distant, common ancestral origin with both a predatory alligator and a delicate songbird. Their evolutionary lineage diverged over 250 million years ago, long before the first dinosaurs achieved planetary dominance, helping scientists map the complex history of life and illustrating how a single ancestral source can branch into beautifully diverse expressions of living consciousness. Though turtles are fundamentally air-breathing reptiles reliant on highly efficient lungs, evolution has equipped certain freshwater species with ingenious supplementary systems for absorbing dissolved oxygen while completely submerged. This specialized process of cloacal respiration relies on an all-purpose anatomical opening lined with an incredibly dense network of active blood vessels. As cold water is drawn into the chamber, these vessels extract dissolved oxygen directly from the water column, acting as an internal backup system. This physiological adaptation is remarkably vital during the long months of winter hibernation, when turtles remain buried beneath thick layers of surface ice. Because cold water holds a significantly higher concentration of oxygen, this elegant solution allows life to persist in conditions where traditional respiration is completely impossible. To complement their respiratory adaptations, turtles possess highly specialized cardiovascular systems engineered to function seamlessly within low-oxygen environments. Their hearts are structurally capable of maintaining a steady, rhythmic beat even when blood oxygen levels drop to thresholds that would prove instantly fatal to the vast majority of mammalian organisms. During deep winter dormancy, when their internal metabolism drops to a near halt and active breathing ceases entirely, the turtle's heart continues its slow, measured cadence, circulating blood at a highly reduced pressure. Certain highly resilient species can even survive for days at a time completely devoid of oxygen, smoothly transitioning into a state of anaerobic metabolism that bypasses the need for respiration, revealing an internal endurance built to withstand the most severe environmental extremes. Standing as a living monument to the absolute limits of terrestrial longevity, a Seychelles giant tortoise named Jonathan reigns as the oldest known living land animal on our planet. Hatched around the year 1832, this extraordinary individual has quietly navigated through the rise and fall of global empires, the dawn of industrial and technological revolutions, and the passing of multiple human generations. Today, he continues his unhurried existence on the remote island of St. Helena, moving slowly across the grass, grazing on fresh vegetation, and absorbing the warmth of the sun with the exact same deliberate patience that has defined his species for eons. His incredible lifespan is a living testament to the efficacy of a slow metabolism, an unshakable resilience, and the profound brilliance of an existence that refuses to be rushed. Jonathan is far from isolated in his longevity. Numerous other giant tortoises routinely achieve equivalent milestones. Their century-spanning lifespans are directly supported by exceptionally measured growth rates, flawless cellular restoration mechanisms, and an existence completely insulated from the frantic metabolic pressures that deplete the vitality of shorter-lived animals. Standing quietly alongside such a monumental living presence is a deeply grounding experience. Furthermore, turtles continuously expand their physical frames across their entire lifespans, though this rate of development decelerates as the decades advance. In contrast to mammals, which hit a definitive developmental ceiling upon reaching sexual maturity, these reptiles experience indeterminate growth. While their pace of expansion drops drastically after their youth, it never hits an absolute conclusion. Consequently, an aged turtle will consistently dwarf a younger mature adult of the same lineage. Because their ultimate size functions as an organic indicator of extreme age, the largest individuals within a population double as the primary guardians of generational experience, having successfully survived predators, complex pathogens, severe droughts, and shifting climates. While adult female sea turtles must regularly haul their heavy frames onto sandy beaches to deposit their eggs, mature males almost never return to dry land once they first enter the surf as hatchlings. The moment a male hatchling successfully reaches the open ocean, the pelagic wilderness becomes his permanent domain. He will forage, migrate, and reproduce entirely within the marine water column. This makes male sea turtles exceptionally elusive subjects for marine biologists, who must rely on open sea tagging initiatives and oceanic genetic sampling rather than beach surveys to track them. For these oceanic wanderers, dry land exists merely as a distant, half-forgotten memory from the absolute first hours of their lives, a landscape they are biologically destined to never visit again. When female sea turtles pull themselves onto coastal dunes to excavate their nests, they frequently appear to be weeping with thick, heavy droplets streaming continuously from their eyes. This phenomenon is entirely disconnected from emotion, functioning instead as an essential physiological filtration system. Because sea turtles ingest large quantities of seawater and consume highly saline marine prey, they must actively purge excess minerals to maintain an internal fluid equilibrium. Evolution solved this challenge by embedding specialized excretory glands immediately behind their eye sockets, which continuously pump concentrated salt out of the bloodstream. On land, away from the washing action of the waves, these clear excretions flow freely down their faces, serving as a practical, brilliant adaptation designed to maintain internal balance in a highly saline universe. The nocturnal emergence of sea turtle hatchlings is orchestrated by a powerful behavioral trait known as positive phototaxis. Programmed to crawl directly toward the most luminous point on the horizon, the newborns naturally rely on the moon and stars reflecting off the surface of the water to guide them straight to the surf. In the modern world, however, intense artificial illumination from coastal resorts, streetlights, and vehicular traffic creates competing horizons, luring the fragile hatchlings inland toward highways and terrestrial predators. Thousands of newborns perish annually due to this technological disruption. To safeguard this ancient navigation system, coastal communities are increasingly adopting conservation measures, including seasonal beachfront light blackouts and the mandatory installation of turtle-friendly, low-wavelength light fixtures. The delicate process of temperature-dependent sex determination hinges entirely upon a narrow, highly critical developmental window known as the thermosensitive period. This crucial phase unfolds precisely during the middle third of the incubation timeline inside the nest. The thermal conditions experienced by the embryos during this specific interval have permanent consequences. Elevated nest temperatures trigger biochemical cascades that produce female hatchlings, while cooler environments steer development toward males. Thermal conditions experienced before or after this narrow window have zero influence on the final outcome. Because the system is so highly localized, even a brief, intense heat wave or a sudden cold snap during the middle third of incubation can drastically warp the sex ratio of an entire generation, leaving their populations acutely vulnerable to the accelerating trend of global climate change. Beyond its primary function as defensive armor, a turtle's shell operates as an incredibly sensitive, highly integrated sensory organ. Nerve endings permeate the living bone structure beneath the skuts, enabling the reptile to detect minute changes in environmental pressure and surface vibrations. On land, the rhythmic footfalls of an approaching predator travel through the earth and resonate directly into the carapace, alerting the turtle long before the threat is visible. Aquatic species utilize this structural sensitivity to interpret shifting ripples in the water column, mapping the movements of nearby prey or evasive hazards. This constant tactile connection means that turtles are perpetually listening to the subtle movements of their surroundings through their own skeletons, experiencing reality through an architectural lens humans can scarcely comprehend. Despite lacking external ears or visible auditory canals, turtles possess highly functional internal ear structures that afford them exceptional hearing capabilities, particularly while submerged. Low-frequency acoustic waves propagate with immense efficiency through water, and the turtle's auditory system is specially tuned to capture these deep vibrations. They rely on this underwater acoustic awareness to detect incoming predators, locate vocalizing mates, and navigate complex marine corridors. Fascinatingly, research indicates that migrating sea turtles can actually hear the deep, rhythmic resonance of surf crashing against distant shorelines, utilizing this auditory landmark to align themselves during long-distance nesting migrations, proving that sound carries vital meaning within the quiet depths of their aquatic environments. While popular culture views turtles as entirely mute, solitary creatures, several species utilize unique acoustic signals during critical life events such as mating and hatching. During intense terrestrial courtship rituals, male tortoises frequently break their typical silence, emitting a series of high-pitched hisses, deep grunts, or rhythmic groans to communicate dominance or encourage receptivity. Even more remarkably, sea turtle hatchlings actively produce faint chirps, clicks, and acoustic pulses while still sealed inside their buried eggs. These hidden vocalizations are believed to coordinate the exact timing of their emergence, ensuring that the entire nest hatches simultaneously for safety in numbers. Though these subtle acoustic exchanges are easily missed by human ears, they reveal a hidden, vocal dimension of turtle society. Turtles are endowed with an exceptional spatial memory that allows them to remember and confidently navigate highly complex geographic environments. They retain detailed mental records of the exact locations of seasonal food sources, optimal basking ledges, and secure winter sanctuaries. Terrestrial box turtles patrol their modest territories with absolute precision, returning to the exact same foraging patches and brumation burrows year after year. On a grander scale, sea turtles commit immense migratory pathways to memory, navigating across thousands of miles of open ocean to return unerringly to the exact same feeding grounds and nesting coordinates. This advanced cognitive capability suggests that turtles formulate sophisticated internal maps of their world, relying on a combination of visual landmarks, geomagnetic lines, and memory to plan their movements. When intense seasonal droughts drain freshwater resources and elevate environmental temperatures to extreme thresholds, certain turtle species enter a specialized state of summer dormancy, known as estivation. Functioning as the warm weather equivalent of winter hibernation, this survival strategy prompts the reptiles to burrow deep into the cooling mud of drying riverbeds or seek out insulated microhabitats beneath dense leaf litter. Once nestled away, they drastically downregulate their metabolic functions to a bare minimum, temporarily ceasing all nutritional and hydration intake. Relying entirely on stored body fat and internal water reserves, they can remain completely quiescent for consecutive months, emerging to rehydrate and resume normal activity only when the seasonal rains finally return to revitalize the parched landscape. The painted turtle stands as one of the most geographically widespread and visually striking reptiles in North America, with a native range extending from the southern provinces of Canada down to the northern landscapes of Mexico. Thriving within slow-moving streams, shallow marshes, and calm ponds, this resilient species derives its common name from the brilliant streaks of crimson, bright yellow, and deep orange that decorate its smooth carapace and dark skin. Painted turtles are dedicated sunbuskers, frequently observed aligned in neat rows along fallen logs to capture solar energy. Operating as highly adaptable omnivores, they consume a varied diet of aquatic flora, insects, small fish, and carrion, with their profound environmental resilience making them a true cornerstone of North American wetlands. Originally native to the freshwater biomes of the southern United States, the red-eared slider has achieved global fame through the pet trade, though it has subsequently transformed into a highly destructive invasive species in numerous international regions. Their mild temperament and distinctive crimson head markings made them incredibly popular exotic pets. However, unequipped owners frequently release these reptiles into local waterways once they outgrow their domestic enclosures. Highly resilient and behaviorally aggressive, red-eared sliders routinely outcompete native turtle populations for prime basking real estate and limited food resources. They have successfully established breeding populations on every single continent excluding Antarctica, serving as a stark ecological reminder of the unintended consequences of the exotic pet trade. Topographic markings on a map turtle shell. The map turtles of North American river systems are named for the intricate, swirling yellow lines that decorate their carapaces, forming elegant patterns that closely resemble the contour lines of a topographic map. These highly streamlined reptiles are powerful, agile swimmers specially adapted for life in fast-flowing currents. Equipped with wide, reinforced jaws, they feed primarily on benthic invertebrates, utilizing their immense crushing power to crack open the dense shells of aquatic snails and freshwater clams. Map turtles are exceptionally skittish and hypervigilant, plunging back into the safety of the current at the slightest sign of an approach. Because they require clean, highly oxygenated flowing water to thrive, they are profoundly sensitive to industrial pollution, functioning as living indicators of river health. The musk turtle, affectionately known to many naturalists as the stinkpot, utilizes a highly potent chemical defense mechanism to deter prospective predators. When cornered or handled, this diminutive reptile secretes a pungent, foul-smelling yellow fluid from specialized musk glands positioned near the base of its limbs, creating a scent trail that effectively discourages larger hunters. This chemical deterrent is essential for a small-bodied species that lacks the physical mass or speed to flee from danger. Musk turtles are primarily bottom dwellers, choosing to walk deliberately along the substrate of ponds and slow creeks rather than swimming through the open water column. They operate as highly efficient omnivorous scavengers, keeping their local aquatic ecosystems clean while remaining completely harmless to humans. The spiny softshell turtle ranks among the most physically distinct and anatomically specialized freshwater reptiles in North America. Foregoing rigid armor, it features a highly compressed, flat carapace covered in a flexible, leathery skin, paired with an elongated snout that terminates in a unique, snorkel-like proboscis. This specialized nasal structure allows the turtle to remain completely submerged and buried beneath the riverbed sand, extending only its nostrils to breathe while remaining invisible to both passing predators and unsuspecting prey. Spiny softshells are exceptionally fast swimmers and aggressive, active hunters that pursue fish, aquatic insects, and crayfish with remarkable speed, utilizing their sharp claws and strong jaws to secure meals within their aquatic domains. The diamondback terrapin holds the unique distinction of being the only turtle species in North America exclusively adapted for life within brackish water environments. The fluctuating mix of salt and fresh currents that defines coastal tidal marshes and estuaries. To survive this highly specialized biome, they have evolved a profound physiological tolerance for shifting salinity levels. Armed with exceptionally strong, heavy jaws, they forage primarily on salt marsh snails, small clams, and blue crabs, crushing hard shells with absolute ease. Tragically, diamondback terrapins were aggressively harvested during the early 20th century as a luxury food item for terrapin soup, causing their numbers to collapse. While long-term conservation laws have aided their recovery, they remain highly vulnerable to modern coastal development and commercial crab traps. The chicken turtle is a unique freshwater species native to the quiet wetlands of the southeastern United States, deriving its unusual common name from historical accounts of its flavor profile. This reptile possesses an extraordinarily elongated, striped neck that is proportionally longer than almost any other North American turtle, an anatomical feature that allows it to rapidly strike outward and snatch fast-moving aquatic prey from a distance. Displaying semi-aquatic habits, chicken turtles divide their time evenly between shallow water bodies and terrestrial terrain. Uniquely, they choose to nest during the autumn months, a complete inversion of standard North American turtle patterns, and their hatchlings overwinter safely inside the underground nest chamber, emerging only when the spring warmth secures their survival. Representing the absolute minimum threshold of North American turtle size, the critically endangered bog turtle rarely exceeds a total adult length of only 4 inches. These miniature reptiles are easily identified by a prominent, bright orange or vivid yellow blotch decorating each side of their neck. Bog turtles are exceptionally secretive and specialized specialists, spending the vast majority of their lives buried deep within the saturated mud or hidden among the dense moss of fens, bogs, and wet meadows. Because these fragile wetland habitats are rapidly disappearing due to agricultural drainage and urban development, bog turtle populations have become highly fragmented and depleted, making intensive habitat restoration initiatives the primary gateway to securing their long-term survival. The Blandings turtle is instantly recognizable by its striking, brilliant yellow chin and throat, a vivid feature that contrasts sharply with its dark, dome-shaped carapace. These semi-aquatic reptiles are long-lived residents of shallow marshes, quiet ponds, and expansive prairie wetlands across the Great Lakes region. They are celebrated for their highly passive, gentle disposition and a unique, hinged plastron that allows them to partially close their shell for protection. Blandings turtles routinely embark on extensive overland migrations to locate seasonal wetlands and ideal nesting sites, a wide-ranging lifestyle that exposes them to significant modern dangers from vehicle strikes, making localized habitat connectivity and road underpasses critical for their continued existence. These long-lived reptiles are celebrated for their immense lifespan, frequently surpassing 7 decades of existence. However, females do not achieve reproductive maturity until their 2nd decade, a protracted biological timeline that leaves their populations uniquely susceptible to sudden collapses. Today, Blandings turtles face a combination of modern threats, including systematic habitat degradation, vehicular strikes on roads, and heavy nest predation by urbanized mammals. Reversing these declines demands an exceptionally prolonged human commitment, as population stabilization is a slow process that unfolds over multiple human generations. The spotted turtle is a diminutive and visually captivating species, easily recognized by the array of vivid yellow polka dots scattered across its dark carapace and charcoal skin. Remarkably, these celestial markings form unique configurations on each individual, functioning much like human fingerprints for identification. These turtles choose to inhabit shallow wetlands, ephemeral vernal pools, and marshy meadows, operating as omnivores that feed on aquatic insects, soft vegetation, and carrion. Their pocket-sized dimensions and striking beauty have unfortunately made them highly sought after by the illegal exotic pet trade. Stripping these residents from their native wetlands inflicts severe damage on already struggling wild populations, making localized habitat security and anti-poaching measures critical to their preservation. The eastern mud turtle exhibits a profound level of environmental flexibility, possessing the unique ability to thrive within ephemeral wetlands that desiccate entirely on a seasonal basis. When localized water levels vanish, these small, dark-shelled reptiles instinctively burrow deep into the cracked earth to enter a protective state of torpor, waiting patiently for seasonal monsoons to rehydrate the landscape. This specialized behavior allows them to successfully colonize transient pools and drainage ditches that would prove completely fatal to more strictly aquatic species. Characterized by their secretive habits and modest sizes, mud turtles navigate their world as highly efficient generalists, consuming whatever organic nutrition becomes available while quietly enduring the dual pressures of environmental pollution and urban encroachment. Beyond their immediate survival, tortoises and various freshwater turtles function as vital agents of forest regeneration through the mechanics of seed dispersal. When these reptiles consume fallen forest fruits, the durable seeds navigate their digestive tracts completely uninjured. Because turtles travel over considerable distances before defecating, they systematically deposit these seeds in entirely new geographical zones, along with a localized source of natural fertilizer. This mobile gardening strategy allows plant species to colonize far-off clearings and maintain essential genetic diversity across fragmented landscapes. Certain native plants have evolved so intimately alongside these reptiles that they produce specialized fruits tailored exclusively to their visual and dietary preferences, meaning that without the steady movement of turtles, these botanical communities would struggle to propagate. Within marine environments, sea turtles, particularly the massive leatherbacks, operate as a crucial biological check against exploding jellyfish populations. A single mature leatherback can consume several hundred pounds of jellyfish over the course of a single day, regulating these pelagic invertebrates and actively preventing the formation of massive jellyfish blooms that can devastate localized marine networks. Unchecked jellyfish blooms choke out native fish populations by consuming their larvae, clog commercial fishing nets, and disrupt human coastal activity. Similarly, freshwater turtles manage populations of aquatic insects, invasive snails, and small fish, maintaining structural balance within inland food webs and fulfilling their ecological roles with quiet efficiency. Because turtles react profoundly to microscopic shifts within their immediate environments, they serve as highly reliable bioindicators of overall ecosystem health. A sudden, noticeable decline in local turtle populations often functions as an early warning sign of broader, systemic environmental degradation, such as chemical contamination, habitat fragmentation, or shifting climate patterns. Conversely, a thriving multi-generational turtle community indicates a well-balanced, fully functional ecosystem. Wildlife biologists meticulously track turtle population demographics to evaluate the baseline health of wetlands, river basins, and coastal shelves, recognizing that by implementing safeguards to protect these ancient reptiles, they are simultaneously sheltering the entire network of biodiversity that shares their home. For numerous indigenous communities across the globe, the turtle holds profound spiritual, cultural, and historical significance, woven tightly into foundational creation oral histories and traditional ceremonies. Across various Native American traditions, the earth itself is spoken of as resting securely upon the carapace of a monumental turtle, an enduring conceptualization of the continent as Turtle Island. In these diverse cultures, the turtle represents the steady, unhurried passage of time and the nurturing foundation of Mother Earth, its segmented shell often used to craft ceremonial rattles, tools, and sacred objects. Honoring these ancient cultural connections requires actively involving indigenous nations in modern conservation initiatives, blending ancestral ecological knowledge with contemporary science to protect a shared heritage. Safeguarding turtle populations is a multi-generational relay race, a conservation effort where practitioners work with the clear understanding that they may never witness the ultimate fruits of their labor. Because these reptiles recover at an exceptionally slow biological pace, a hatchling protected and released into the wild today will not contribute to the gene pool for decades. This reality requires an expansive, long-term perspective passed down from one human generation to the next. Older conservationists teach youth to value wetland biomes, and children who participate in beach cleanups grow into the policymakers and scientists of tomorrow, united by a continuous, shared commitment to ensure these ancient creatures endure far into the future. Observing a turtle navigate its world offers a deeply grounding, meditative respite from the frantic acceleration of modern human life. Their deliberate, unhurried movements invite human onlookers to embrace the present moment with a matching sense of intention. A painted turtle basking motionless upon a river log, completely still save for the slow, rhythmic blink of its eye, serves as a silent reminder that stillness is not synonymous with emptiness. A land tortoise methodically grazing upon a single leaf provides a lesson in absolute patience, while a sea turtle gliding weightlessly through a coral reef demonstrates pure, unforced grace, teaching us the intrinsic value of moving through existence with quiet composure. In a modern society that constantly glorifies extreme speed, frantic productivity, and perpetual motion, the turtle offers an entirely different blueprint for long-term success. They serve as a living reminder that evolutionary survival does not require haste. Their low metabolic rates, measured development, and unhurried locomotion are not structural weaknesses, but highly refined adaptations that have allowed them to outlast the most dramatic shifts in planetary history. The timeless fable of the tortoise and the hare continues to resonate precisely because human beings recognize that consistency and absolute persistence routinely triumph over erratic bursts of speed, proving the efficacy of a strategy that has stood the test of deep time. The planet has experienced 5 major cataclysmic mass extinction events, monumental disruptions that permanently erased vast majorities of global life, and the ancestral lineage of the turtle successfully endured them all. They navigated the devastating End-Permian extinction, recognized as the most severe ecological collapse in Earth's history, and survived both the Triassic and Cretaceous extinctions, the latter of which famously concluded the age of the dinosaurs. Each time the world fractured and reset, turtles emerged into the altered landscapes, adapting smoothly to new realities. This profound resilience indicates that their core design, defined by metabolic flexibility, a protective armored vault, and generalist dietary habits, provides an ultimate advantage during global crises. While turtles have successfully outmaneuvered ancient asteroids and global volcanic upheavals, their ultimate survival now hinges entirely on modern human choices. The current crisis confronting these reptiles is entirely man-made, driven by rapid habitat destruction, plastic inundation, destabilizing climate shifts, and commercial overexploitation. Unlike past extinction waves triggered by unalterable cosmic forces, this modern decline is fueled by human decisions, and decisions can be actively altered. By preserving remaining wild corridors, eliminating single-use plastics, backing global conservation initiatives, and respecting local wildlife, humanity can ensure these ancient lineages continue to walk the earth, translating modern choices into permanent preservation. Because turtles are defined by slow reproductive rates and exceptionally high hatchling mortality, every single mature adult holds immeasurable value for the survival of the species. The loss of even a few breeding individuals can cause a localized population to crater for consecutive decades, meaning that every individual rescue, every shielded nest, and every piece of shoreline debris removed carries profound ecological weight. Tiny individual actions compound into global solutions. A single beach walker collecting a discarded plastic bag can clear the path for a generation of hatchlings, proving that turtle conservation is a collective human endeavor where anyone can participate in anchoring these creatures to our world. To look into the eyes of a turtle is to connect directly with deep geological time, catching a fleeting glimpse of a lineage that stretches back to the dawn of terrestrial life. Their ancestors swam in primeval oceans millions of years before the first human walked the earth, traversing continents that were still shifting, colliding, and forming. They have quietly witnessed the rise and fall of countless mammalian empires, the gradual carving of mountain ranges, and the slow unfolding of global biodiversity. In their silent presence, human history reveals itself as a brief interlude compared to the vast sweep of evolutionary epochs, establishing turtles as living, breathing monuments to the deep past. The epic history of the turtle is a masterclass in the art of resilience and structural adaptation, showing that true survival is not achieved through aggressive dominance, but through the capacity to endure. When confronted with intense predatory pressures, they evolved a protective armored vault. When faced with freezing northern winters, they mastered the science of brumation. And when challenged by vast oceans, they developed the ability to navigate via geomagnetic currents. Each specialized trait arose as a direct, calculating solution to an environmental crisis. They embody a unique flexibility within a stable framework, proving that patience combined with steady adaptation can carry life through the most hostile eras of planetary history. Turtles continue to ignite intense scientific curiosity, serving as profound biological instructors for researchers worldwide. Scientists' entry into their world to decode the mysteries of their long-distance navigation, investigate their flawless cellular repair mechanisms, study their oxygen-deprived survival tactics, and analyze the chemistry of temperature-dependent sex determination. Each breakthrough raises deeper inquiries into how these reptiles preserve their DNA so efficiently over centuries, offering vital insights that could one day revolutionize human medical understanding of the aging process. They are far more than passive subjects of wildlife preservation. They are timeless teachers offering advanced lessons in physiology, evolutionary biology, and ultimate adaptation. When humans take active steps to preserve turtle populations, they are engaging in an act of faith that stretches far beyond the boundaries of their own brief lifespans. A newborn sea turtle hatchling guided safely into the ocean waves today may continue to navigate the globe for a century or more, long after its human protectors have vanished into history. Wildlife conservation is fundamentally a gift to unborn generations, requiring humanity to consider the structural legacy we leave behind and the quality of the world we pass forward. These ancient, long-lived reptiles challenge us to think in terms of deep time, recognizing that our modern environmental choices ripple outward across centuries. In countless profound ways, the slow journey of the turtle mirrors the core arc of human existence. They enter the world small, fragile, and acutely vulnerable, facing an environment filled with immediate hazards. Through measured, steady progression, they grow, learn, and adapt to their surroundings, seeking out nutrition, secure shelter, and seasonal companionship to ensure the continuation of their kind. As they enter old age, their physical movements decelerate, yet their internal persistence remains entirely unwavering. Though we move at vastly different velocities and occupy distinctly separate biomes, a fundamental commonality unites us, reminding us that life across all evolutionary branches is a journey defined by struggle, growth, and the quiet determination to continue moving forward. Within the unhurried life of a turtle lies the profound elegance of absolute simplicity: to forage, to rest, to bask in the sun, and to survive. They exist entirely free from the burdens of intricate social hierarchies or frantic communication networks, their fundamental needs basic and their desires completely uncomplicated. Yet, within this minimalist existence lies a stunning biological success story. A turtle requires no flashy displays or aggressive domination to conquer its environment. It simply exists, navigating its world with quiet competence and finding absolute sufficiency within its design, serving as a reminder that a well-adapted, simple life can achieve the highest levels of evolutionary success. Encountering a turtle moving quietly through its natural habitat is an undeniable privilege, a moment of genuine connection that binds us directly to the wild heart of the natural world. Whether observing a majestic leatherback glide effortlessly across a tropical coral reef, tracking a desert tortoise as it ambles through sun-baked scrublands, or watching a painted turtle balance meticulously upon a sunlit river log, these quiet encounters remind us of our shared place on a beautiful, ancient planet, encouraging us to step back, slow down, and preserve the magnificent tapestry of life. These reptiles serve as a poignant reminder that humanity shares this planet with an array of alternative life forms, each following its own distinct evolutionary trajectory. In an era increasingly dominated and reshaped by human enterprise, wild turtles represent a precious sanctuary of ecological continuity, maintaining an existence that has remained essentially unaltered across millions of eons. To observe them is to actively step outside our short-sighted, human-centered perspective and witness life completely on its own terms, offering an experience that is both profoundly humbling and intellectually enriching. The pristine beaches where turtles deposit their eggs function as sacred open-air altars of ancient ritual. For uncounted millennia, sea turtles have traveled across vast oceans to return unerringly to these exact coastal zones to propagate their species. These shorelines are monuments to historical permanence, hosting reproductive behaviors that unfold completely unchanged by time. When a heavy female pulls her bulk out of the surf, meticulously excavates a nesting chamber in the sand, deposits her eggs, and returns to the deep ocean, she is executing a choreography identical to the one performed by her ancestors countless generations ago, transforming these beaches into physical bridges connecting the present to the deep past. Newborn hatchlings emerge from the sand as the ultimate physical embodiments of hope and fresh beginnings. Watching a tiny, determined hatchling scramble frantically toward the breaking surf is a deeply moving spectacle, representing the relentless drive of life to persist against overwhelming statistical odds. Though the vast majority of these miniature pioneers will inevitably succumb to predators or environmental hazards before achieving maturity, they push forward with unyielding momentum. Driven by raw, primal instinct to reach the safety of the water column, they carry the entire genetic future of their lineage within their fragile frames, a manifestation of unrelenting vital force. If these ancient creatures offer a single, overarching lesson to the modern world, it is the profound power of absolute endurance. Turtles do not survive by aggressively conquering or reshaping their ecosystems. Instead, they excel at enduring within them. They reject haste in favor of absolute persistence, quietly outlasting apex predators, dramatic climate shifts, sudden resource scarcity, and countless other planetary crises across consecutive generations. Each living specimen stands as a vital, unbroken link in an ancestral chain spanning hundreds of millions of years, proving that true survival is not defined by aggressive dominance, but by a steady, quiet strength that persists beneath the noise of the world. Through their naturally deliberate tempo, turtles extend a silent invitation for humanity to slow down and actively appreciate the present moment. In a fast-paced human culture fundamentally obsessed with speed, rapid productivity, and constant acceleration, these reptiles function as a vital ecological counterbalance. They demonstrate that life can be successfully navigated at an entirely different pace. They never hurry, yet they efficiently accomplish every necessity of survival. By moving through their environments with calculated care and experiencing each passing increment of time completely, they encourage human observers to quiet their own racing thoughts and recognize the richness of the immediate present. A turtle's shell functions simultaneously as an impenetrable personal fortress and a permanent home. This unique anatomical shield provides both absolute physical protection and defines their very identity as a distinct class of life. In stark contrast to organisms like hermit crabs, which must periodically scavenge for foreign armor, turtles are born directly into their skeletal vaults, which expand harmoniously with them across their entire lifespans. While this dense armor introduces a permanent structural burden that adds considerable weight and limits locomotive velocity, the trade-off has overwhelmingly favored safety and security for over 200 million years, transforming the shell into a physical expression of evolutionary strategy. Modern humans have occupied the global stage for roughly 300,000 years, whereas the ancestral lineage of the turtle has flourished for over 200 million years. This immense chronological disparity means that turtles reigned as an ancient, highly successful group long before the very first hominids ever emerged. They shared the landscape with long-extinct dinosaurs, successfully navigated the frozen peaks of global ice ages, and silently observed early human tribes migrating across continents. They have witnessed the entire sweeping arc of human history, from the sharpening of the first stone tools to the launch of modern space exploration, while remaining structurally constant, offering a profound perspective on our brief position within the grand story of terrestrial life. Turtles share the physical space of our world with absolute quietude, never demanding human attention or competing with our species for global dominance. They simply exist, occupying their specialized ecological niches and fulfilling their environmental roles without disruption. They require very little from humanity, merely the freedom of open space, unpolluted waterways, secure nesting beaches, and wilderness corridors free from systemic destruction. In exchange for this basic coexistence, they enrich our planet with natural beauty, scientific wonder, and the grounding gift of their presence, serving as a constant reminder that the Earth is not ours alone, and that all living lineages deserve fundamental respect. Every individual turtle carries a vivid, highly detailed autobiography permanently etched into the structure of its shell. The cyclic growth rings looping across the scuts, the deep scars left behind by long-healed injuries, and the color patterns unique to each specimen form a physical record of a life fully lived. A pronounced notch in the carapace may chronicle a historic escape from a predator's jaws, while balanced growth rings illuminate consecutive years of abundant foraging. The shell functions as a literal biography written in living bone and tough keratin, presenting a tangible document of survival for any observer willing to invest the patience required to decipher its markings. Within the diverse theater of natural selection, organisms deploy myriad survival strategies, ranging from extreme speed and weaponized aggression to advanced camouflage and complex social cooperation. The turtle successfully gambled on absolute protection, choosing to outlast environmental threats rather than outrun them, and opting to retreat into an armored sanctuary rather than engage in physical conflict. This defensive path has served them flawlessly across epochs, offering an alternative model of success built on resilience and strategic withdrawal. It reminds us that defense can be just as potent as offense, and that sometimes the most effective response to external danger is to pause, wait, and endure. Turtles are living proof that evolutionary success does not require ecological dominance or aggressive competition. They do not seek to monopolize their ecosystems or drive competing species out through territorial violence. Instead, they harmonize with their surroundings, occupy their specific niches, and persist through structural efficiency. This gentle, highly integrated approach to survival has enabled them to peacefully coexist with an endless array of species across vast geological timelines. Their history demonstrates that long-term prosperity in nature does not belong exclusively to the strongest or the fastest, but to those capable of seamless adaptation and enduring integration within the web of life. In a world where physical speed is frequently conflated with biological superiority, the turtle's exceptionally low metabolic rate reveals itself as a profound evolutionary superpower. This slow-burning internal engine means that turtles require significantly less nutritional input than faster-moving animals, allowing them to easily endure prolonged periods of starvation that would prove instantly fatal to mammals. This metabolic efficiency enables them to hibernate through freezing winters, estivate through intense droughts, and survive extreme environmental fluctuations with ease. What casual observers misinterpret as simple slowness is, in reality, a masterfully engineered system of energy conservation that maximizes long-term survival. Every physical movement a turtle executes is entirely deliberate, calculated, and stripped of wasteful energy expenditure. They operate as nature's ultimate efficiency experts, maximizing their survival output while minimizing internal caloric input. When localized food resources collapse, they respond by minimizing movement. When ambient temperatures hit hostile extremes, they retreat into sheltered microhabitats to wait out the crisis. They do not waste precious energy on superfluous activity or frantic pacing, moving through their lives with absolute intention. There is an enduring structural wisdom in this methodology, recognizing that energy is a finite resource that must be spent with extreme care. In a modern world characterized by relentless technological innovation and constant transformation, the turtle stands as living proof that time-tested designs remain deeply effective. Their basic anatomical blueprint has required no major structural revisions for over 200 million years simply because the solution is functionally complete. Natural selection does not favor constant reinvention for its own sake. It favors whatever successfully works. If a biological architecture delivers flawless results across changing eras, it persists. The ancient bodies of these reptiles provide a magnificent vindication of the principle that a perfect design requires no modification, remaining brilliant across epochs. A turtle exists entirely unburdened by the weight of past regrets or the anxiety of future uncertainties, living completely within the immediate reality of the present moment. Their consciousness responds exclusively to the environmental conditions they encounter in the now. When hunger arises, they forage. When exhaustion sets in, they rest. And when danger threatens, they withdraw into their armor. This pure immediacy of being is a state of consciousness that humans often struggle to access, frequently pulled backward by memory or pushed forward by stress. Free from these cognitive distortions, turtles simply live, demonstrating the deep internal peace that accompanies absolute presence. You cannot force a turtle to accelerate. It will navigate its environment at its own unhurried, predetermined velocity, completely unconcerned with human impatience. This absolute steadfastness offers a natural masterclass in patience for those accustomed to a world of instant gratification. To wait for a tortoise to cross an open path, or to watch it slowly negotiate a difficult obstacle, is to actively practice mindfulness. In that deliberate observation, we learn that crucial biological and planetary processes cannot be rushed, that development requires time, and that periods of waiting represent essential increments of growth rather than wasted space. Turtles demand absolutely nothing from humanity other than simple, unmolested coexistence. They do not require us to provision them with food, construct artificial shelters, or manage their wild populations. Their primary petition is simply to be granted the physical space required to live out their natural lives. They ask only for clean, unpolluted waterways, dark and undisturbed nesting beaches, and freedom from human persecution, fundamental prerequisites for survival. In honoring these basic ecological requirements, humanity practices true coexistence, acknowledging that alternative lineages possess an intrinsic right to exist and inherit the earth alongside us. Every single encounter with a turtle in the wild functions as a profound gift from the natural world, whether it is a chance sighting of a sea turtle surfacing amidst ocean swells, or the steady observation of a pond turtle resting on a half-submerged log. These fleeting moments provide an immediate line of connection to the broader biosphere, briefly pulling us out of our busy, human-dominated routines to offer an invaluable sense of perspective, natural beauty, and primal wonder. These encounters serve as a gentle reminder that the Earth is vibrant with diverse expressions of life, each moving beautifully through its own unique journey. The world experiences constant, volatile transformations. Human empires rise and crumble into dust, technologies evolve at breakneck speeds, and landscapes are radically altered. Yet turtles remain, traversing time with the exact same steady cadence they have maintained across millennia. They function as living anchors of absolute stability in an age of rapid flux, offering a comforting sense of permanence. Their quiet endurance reassures us that continuity exists, and that the deep past remains actively bound to the present day, establishing these ancient reptiles as reliable, steady links to an enduring planetary heritage that outlasts fleeting modern trends. Through 200 million years of continuous existence, surviving multiple mass extinctions, global climate upheavals, and the rise and fall of countless competing species, turtles have undeniably earned their place on this planet. Their survival is entirely disconnected from luck. It is the direct manifestation of highly effective, deeply refined biological strategies honed over incomprehensible spans of deep time. They belong here by right of endurance. In recognizing and honoring their place on Earth, humanity validates the profound principle that all ancient life, having persisted through epochs of planetary trial, has earned our absolute protection and highest respect. On a superficial level, turtles appear to lead lives of elegant simplicity, defined entirely by the basic cycles of foraging, resting, basking, and reproducing. Yet beneath this minimalist exterior lies a universe of profound physiological and behavioral complexity. Their advanced internal chemistry allows them to survive environments devoid of oxygen. Their long-distance navigation systems utilize global magnetic fields in ways science has yet to fully decode, and their extreme longevity challenges our fundamental understanding of the cellular aging process. This fascinating duality between external simplicity and internal complexity makes them endlessly captivating subjects for both casual appreciation and rigorous scientific inquiry. After more than 200 million years of continuous survival, the epic journey of the turtle is far from over. Every single day across the globe, these ancient reptiles awaken to a new sunrise, continuing the timeless rituals of basking on logs, navigating open oceans, excavating burrows, and depositing their eggs in the sand. Each individual operates as a living, breathing link in an unbroken ancestral chain, bridging the deep past with an unwritten future. Their journey continues because their resilience remains unwavering. However, whether this remarkable lineage endures for another 200 million years depends entirely on the choices humanity makes today. In their characteristically slow, quiet manner, turtles serve as profound instructors of what truly matters in the grand architecture of life. They teach us that success is not measured by extreme speed, aggressive dominance, or the endless accumulation of resources, but by the cultivation of endurance, resilience, presence, simplicity, and patience. These are the core values embodied by their ancient lineage, offering deeper truths to any human willing to observe their lives. They reveal to us that an existence lived slowly can be extraordinarily complete, that a simple life can hold immense profundity, and that absolute persistence is its own magnificent form of success. To look upon a turtle is to connect directly with a magnificent lineage whose direct ancestors swam in primeval seas long before the first human footprint was ever pressed into the earth. They carry the distilled wisdom of survival across epochs within their very bone structure, linking us to a vast sweep of natural history that renders human concerns beautifully small. In their silent presence, we touch an ancient expression of consciousness that predates our species and possesses the structural design to outlast it, humbling our perspective and reminding us that we are part of a much larger, grander cosmic story. And so, our journey through the peaceful, enduring world of these ancient reptiles draws to its natural conclusion. From the monumental giant tortoises of isolated atolls to the miniature hatchlings scrambling across sandy beaches, and from the open ocean wanderers to the specialized dwellers of arid deserts, we have explored an extraordinary tapestry of diversity and resilience. We have witnessed how they navigate via ancestral paths, carry their sanctuaries upon their backs, and outlasted changing worlds while other lineages vanished from history, learning that they embody the ultimate art of moving through existence with deliberate care. Imagine yourself resting upon a quiet, undisturbed shoreline at twilight, letting your breathing fall into a smooth, effortless rhythm. The sky above is washed in soft gradients of deep purple and warm orange as the final remnants of daylight dissolve into a star-filled evening. Before you, the coastal sand is perfectly smooth, patterned only by the deep tracks of a sea turtle who journeyed ashore to nest hours ago. She has already slipped silently back into the dark sanctuary of the ocean waves, leaving her eggs resting safely beneath the insulating warmth of the dune, waiting patiently for their time to emerge. The air is perfectly still, filled only with the rhythmic, comforting sound of gentle waves rolling onto the shore and the soft whisper of evening wind passing through coastal grasses. In the distance, the silhouette of a sea turtle breaks the glassy surface of the water, draws a deep, quiet breath of atmospheric air, and glides weightlessly back down beneath the rolling swells. All is calm, and all is exactly as it should be. The turtles continue their timeless journeys across the globe, just as they have for millions of years, navigating time with absolute grace, carrying the wisdom of endurance, and reminding us that all life is precious. Let their slow movements, steady breathing, and ancient presence stay with you as you settle deeply into your own space, safe, protected, and completely at peace. Good night.